Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. In today's episode, we are going to discuss the squad members. Progressive members are facing some challenges. Um, Matter of fact, two of them, Jamal Bowman and your girl, Corey Bush, they are facing challengers for their seat, all because of their stance on pro-Palestine or pro-Palestine and their anti-stand on Israel. So we're going to discuss that today. We have some informations and articles that I want to go over. Also, yesterday I didn't get a lot. I got a lot of backlash on my critical commentary on your boy Brandon Johnson. We're going to discuss him today again because it's coming up on his 1 year anniversary of him being a mayor. And there was just a report, a news article that came out by the Block Club of Chicago. And Brandon Johnson said, name one thing I haven't done. Okay. And I think there's a lot of things that he hasn't done. I know we got some pro Brandon Johnsons, and because he's black, he can't do any wrong, but we're going to discuss that today. That's all on today's episode of Business Talk, so stay tuned.
Something like this, a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Something like this, a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. I see we have Carmelo Ortiz in the building, Rick Hill in the building, Noble Young, it's always good to see you, and the Warrior in the building. What is up, family? You guys, so election is coming up. We have several people on the chopping block, and I just wanted to overview or discuss the squad. Okay, I'm not a Democrat or anything like that. I just think it's important because it seems like the Democratic Party is eating their own people. You know, they eat their young. They're eating their people. Corey Bush, even though I believe she's an incumbent, I think this is her second term for her seat. But Jamal Bowman, I think he's a freshman. So Corey Bush, let me just share this article with you. Corey Bush is facing a challenger, and this is all because she made a stance, and you know, the squad, I guess it's about five of them representative. You got Ayanna Pressley, she's not up for re-election. You have Rashida Talib. I have some news about her, and I covered this story before. And Corey Bush, Jamal Bowman, and I believe Jasmine Crockett. I'm not for sure she's in there, a part of the squad, but AOC is as well. So about six of them, and Ilhan Omar. And no one's came. I don't think Ilhan Omar is up for re-election. Ayanna Pressley is not up for re-election. But you have Rashida Talib, Corey Bush, and Jamal Bowman. They're all up for re-election. Rashida and Jamal actually have Democratic challengers. And this is unheard of because normally if we have an incumbent, whatever, you know, political affiliation they usually don't have challengers, you know, challenging them. But this is, you know, Corey Bush, she has a challenger. And this is all because their stance on being pro-Israel, you know. So let me just play this one video for you. And this is literally the guy kind of, you know, giving backlash on Joe Biden, because Joe Biden, I told you, he's straddling the fence. He's afraid if he makes a stand with pro-Israel, you do have a large Jewish community, and that's in the White House. A lot of Jews are in the White House, and then you can't make a stand. Your voters, your main supporters are pro-Palestine. So, this guy, I believe he's Muslim, but he was talking to Joe Biden, and he's stressing him, hey, we need some answers. You need to take a stand. And this is him, if it plays. It says doctor walks out of Biden meeting.
Back again, huh?
Biden meeting. Not being satisfied with the president's stance on Israel and Hamas war. And as we talked about this, a few times, I stopped covering it. But the problem is Joe Biden wants to support Israel. He support, Israel for taking action, but he's not saying, hey, you have to stop. You can't just go around, taking people out. Anyway, this is him.
It's frustrated a lot of people, especially people who are Palestinian Americans, Muslim Americans, Arab Americans. We are not satisfied with what has taken place. There has been no concrete steps. But keep in mind, we're very concerned about the people that are over in the Gaza Strip, that are in Palestine right now, who are not just starving, but are facing the threat of a looming Rafah invasion. And so I was able to share that with the president and let him know that out of respect for my community, out of respect for all of the people who have suffered and who have been killed in the process, I need to walk out of the meeting. And I want to walk out with decision makers and let them know what it feels like for somebody to say something and then walk away from them and not hear them out and not hear their response.
Wow. I mean, how did President Biden respond to that?
There wasn't a lot of response. He actually said that he understood. And I walked away. And I think, for me, just like many of the other Palestinian Americans and Palestinians, or as I mentioned, many of the people who are interested in what's going on, we're panicking.
And this is absolutely right. This stance has divided the Democratic Party. Okay. They are eating each other because they can't agree on this thing, because you have some Israelis or the Jewish community, their feelings is, if you're taking a stand pro-Palestinian, and you could just say, hey, I just feel like you shouldn't murder women and children. That's like being anti-Semitic to them. You really can't take a stand. But then you do have the extremists like Cori Bush, Rashida Talib, taking a stand and chanting, those death chants that they have in Hamas, I guess their Bible, if you will. You have those extremists. So, but I believe the middle ground is, hey, Israel has already took action. And then now it's time to stop. Now it's time to stop the violence, because when are you just going to kill everybody? It doesn't make any sense. And I believe they have the right to feel that way, because Hamas is not every Palestinian that's over there. I'm not pro-Hamas, or I'm not pro-Palestinian. I'm not even pro-Israel. I feel like the U.S. should just stay out of it. And maybe that's what Joe Biden is trying to do. I'm not for sure. But he's providing aid to Israel. Hey, you could provide for weaponry. And then you're going to provide aid, bandages to Palestinians. That, to me, that is insane. That is crazy. So you're supporting this war, and then, oh, we feel bad, so we're going to give you some bandages. It's insane. So since this stand, the pro-Israel Democrat group is looking to oust two controversial far-left squad members from their seat in this Congress cycle. And the Democratic Majority for Israel Super PAC, or Political Action Committee, on Wednesday endorsed George Lattimore, the Westchester County executive who is challenging Representative Jamal Bowman. Okay, a New York and Wesley Bell, the progressive prosecuting attorney for St. Louis County, who is running against Cori Bush of Missouri in their upcoming primaries this summer. And it doesn't look good for them. It doesn't look good for them. The group is the latest in the string to target the squad members over the contentious comments regarding Israel. Last week, the Jewish Democratic Council of America also endorsed Bowman and Bush opponents, because you can't say you're pro-Palestine. You can't say that. And they said that at the beginning. You can't say it. It's like against the Israeli or Jewish community. You know, everything is literally anti-Semitic, and which I do agree with the Jewish community. They should be able to protect themselves, but I think it's gone too far now. But since early on, they stand with pro-Palestinians or pro-Palestinians, is basically they were standing with Hamas terrorist group. So that, and they're facing some challenges. The effort to oust Bowman and Bush comes after the representative made a string of controversial comments and actions with regard to Israel, which has drawn the ire of such group. Following the Hamas terrorist group's bloody incursion in Israel on October the 7th, Bush accused Israel of retaliating by targeting hospitals and committing war crimes against Palestinians in Gaza. And we don't know if that's true, but of course, they retaliated. We don't know. And well, they said it was fake. That I guess it was a hospital. Back in October, they claimed that they bombed, and it was I guess fake news. They made that all up. We can't be silent about Israel ethnic cleansing campaign. Dead babies, pregnant women dead, elderly dead, generations of families dead. And Bush wrote in an October the 29th post on X, like I said, she came out really early after October 7th and making this claim. I believe, Cori Bush, you should have just mind your own business. I wouldn't have took a stance on that. Mind your own business, because you're just basically saying Palestinians or the Hamas terrorist group that attacked Israel had the right to attack them. So now the Jewish community, of course, is pissed off with you. And she's saying millions of people in Gaza with nowhere to go being slaughtered. The U.S. must stop funding these atrocities against Palestinians. I do agree with that. I think the U.S. should stay out of it, just like the Ukraine war. I mean, we got plenty of people that's in need in the U.S. You need to support, and when you saying you support providing funding to Israel, Ukraine, you're supporting their cause. That's basically what you're doing. And you're still providing funding to them. You're supporting their cause. Instead of saying, hey, we think this should be in. And now, just recently, Israel attacked, I guess, a aid group that was providing aid over in the Palestine or Gaza Strip, and they killed several people. And I believe 2 Americans end up dying during that attack. So when is enough is enough. And not to say I'm not agreeing with Cori Bush or anything like that, but America, Joe Biden, you made a stance, and that stance was nothing. That's basically what you did. You're sitting on your hands. Okay, and you're a wimp of a leader. Okay, so it says Cori Bush shaping up to be the most vulnerable squad member this election. Fellow squad member Bowman is also has a history of anti-Israel rhetoric. The New York Democrat said reports of Israeli women being the R word by Hamas terrorists were propaganda, just days after taking part of viewing the footage of Hamas attack. Like I said, Jamal, if you're not over there, you can't speak on it. But they show women being assaulted in the, during that attack, women being taken advantage of during that attack. I'm not for sure if Israel, they say Israel is pretty brutal too. So they're doing it to each other. But he's saying this was all propaganda. There's still no evidence of beheaded babies or our women. Okay, but still they keep using that lie for propaganda. Why are you so invested into this mission? Or this, I don't understand why. And this is what I was discussing yesterday. Black folks, we take up all these other causes besides being Black. You're taking up pro-Hamas stuff or pro-Palestinians, or pro, to me it's pro-Hamas. But you're not taking up the cause this, causes this affects your own people. You're in New York, and there's a lot of things that's going on in New York that you need to be discussing, but instead you're discussing stuff that's overseas, and you're a representative, a district representative. So that's local. That's not you. You're not part of the Foreign Relations Committee. You're not a part of Foreign Affairs. You're not part of that. You should be taking care of local stuff, just like Cori Bush. You're in one of the most the areas that's high crime area. Why aren't you taking up stances in that area instead of saying defund the police and being pro-Palestine? You need to be focused on that. So when I say they're in trouble, this is what Cori Bush is trailing Democratic primary challenger by 22 points. I'm not for sure how much money she raised, but she's trailing by 22 points, her challenger. And it's sad. It says survey asks respondents for whom they would vote for in a hypothetical primary held if it was held today, where between the three candidates, which listed the following order: Wesley Bell, State Senator Maria Chappelle Nadeau, and Bush. The questions did not indicate which candidate was the incumbent. Half of the respondents said Bell, 28% said Bush, 4% said Nadeau, 18% said they were not sure. Half, that means 50%. Bell leads Bush in the most demographic breakdowns as well among African American respondents. 43% support Bell, 35% support Bush, 20% are undecided. Bell wins white respondents, 60% by a greater margin compared with the 20% of white respondents who says they support Bush. This is a telltale sign. But I believe wasn't he a senator at one time? So they're very familiar with him. I don't know if he's a senator or like an attorney general, but they know him. He already has a career in politics. But anyway, respondents who identify as very progressives are split between Bell and Bush. 43% support each candidate. So you can't even conjure your own people. They're split. Or rally up your own people. It's split. And so Bell is leading in that. And he's not even the incumbent. Okay. Then you have your boy Jamal Bowman. Jamal Bowman is actually trailing behind 17 points. Squad New York Representative Bowman, 17 points challenger backed by pro-Israel group. Like I said, the Democrats are eating their own people. To me, it doesn't make any sense because they're so divided just because of this Hamas and Palestinian whole conflict. Okay. It says a new poll indicates New York Democratic Representative Jamal Bowman, a member of the Progressive Squad of lawmakers who has become increasingly critical of Israel, is down 17 points to his challenger in the primary election, Westchester County Executive George Lattimore. And it says the poll was commissioned by the Democratic Majority for Israel, which has endorsed Lattimore in the race to represent New York's 16th district. So it might be misleading because they did this poll. Okay, so and this is from the Times of Israel. So this poll might be biased because they probably taken a poll just because of Israel supporters. So, but we'll see. Well, time will tell once the primary shows up. And the poll shows Latimer is leading Bowman by 52% and 35% among the Democratic primary voters. That lead grows to 21% when only Democrats who voted in the last 4 primaries are surveyed. And the poll was conducted by a veteran Democratic pollster, Mark Mellman, who heads DMFI. Okay, and I guess Democratic Majority for Israel. And so you see they're eating their own. They're in trouble. I'm pretty sure they've raised a lot of money to oust these candidates. And this is not the only, I guess, I wouldn't call it a rumor, but this is not the only news that has happened with the squad. Now, Rashida Tlaib is a representative in Michigan, and she has major support. Did you guys know Michigan has the largest Arab population in America? The largest Arab community. So she has strong support. I just read an article that Rashida Tlaib, she has actually outraised all of her Democratic friends in Michigan. She has raised over $3.5 million for her campaign. So this was back in, I believe, in December. Harper Hill, he's an ex-actor, or I'm not for sure, but he's an author, an actor. He is running for Senate, and he put on his Instagram that it was a lucrative proposal. Donor allegedly offered $20 million to recruit a Talib primary challenger. And the lucrative proposal to Democratic Michigan Senator candidate Harper Hill arrived on October the 16th, according to the source, with direct knowledge. But he decided not to do that because his business was to run for Senate. A Michigan businessman called Democratic Senate candidate Hill Harper to offer $20 million to his campaign contribution if he agreed to drop out and instead mount a primary challenge to Representative Rashida Tlaib, according to the source with direct knowledge of the call. The source added that Harper Hill declined the alleged October the 16th offer from donor Lyndon Nelson, which would have split the campaign money between $10 million in bundle contribution directly to Harper's campaign and $10 million in independent expenditures. But Harper Hill declined that offer. Okay, so he ended up, it says a Michigan entrepreneur and past donor to candidates in both parties, but he recounted that the call in the same terms as the source in a post after X publication. So You know, like I said, Rashida Tlaib it'll probably be hard to unseat her. You're not going to just unseat her because, like I was saying before, she has a strong support since Michigan, and her district is probably 99, or I would get 95% Arab. They're, you know, it's just a very dense population of the Arabic community. Now, Rashida, let me just pull her up. Just go to the news. Even though she's really, really crazy, Rashida, something's wrong with her, and maybe because she is Palestinian, but something's wrong with her. Let me just, okay, yeah. This is what I was saying. Representative Rashida Tlaib, she raised a $3.7 million in the last 3 months. She's raised $3.7 million. That's ridiculous. But they've been very critical of her. She's been censored in Congress. But since that censorship, it galvanized her base. You know, I believe Rashida Tlaib, I believe she's anti-American. But since she's a citizen, what more can you say? You know, but we allowed, you know, for her to get elected. I hope they don't start sending me stuff. Anyway, you guys put it in chat. Let me know what you think about that. We do have some comments. Hey, Lexi is in the building. Samuel J, to be honest, Muslim nations sympathize, but not helping Palestine for good reasons. Yeah, they're afraid. They're afraid that Hamas, you know, it's a terrorist organization. You know, they run that Gaza Strip. So also the world already forgot October 7th and worried for Gaza. Yeah, you're right. The warrior said, hell, even the Muslim world doesn't want Palestinians. And they don't. They don't. Because they're extremists, though. Like I said, I believe Rashida Tlaib is a Palestinian, and she is very extreme. She talks really crazy. She's very anti-American. I don't know how she ended up getting elected. I don't know what the rules are for you to just run for election, but Michigan and in her area is they have a lot. It's a very dense population of the Arab community. You said it best. Why the U.S. bother about foreign affairs, especially with borders unsecured at home? Yeah, we have plenty of problems here. Why are we sending money, and why are we worried about something that's not even our problem? Kevin R. Kennard, it's my opinion that when you step outside the box, you are always at risk. Israel is just another tool the racist nationalists employ to continue controlling the narrative. There is no reason for this. Rick Hill said I was a Dumbo rat, but woke up when Trump ran. Well, yeah, we all, end up. I think we all had that type of path. Some people just voted Republican all the ways, no changing their mind. I used to, I used to literally flip flop. I've always been in the middle of the road. But I guess I would be extreme right now. The way the political climate is, I will be an extreme conservative because the stuff that they're doing now, I've been pushed on the other end because the lefty crazies is really crazy. And I don't agree with none of the things that they're doing. And so speaking of political climate, this young man was on, and I guess he's been paid by Biden's campaign to, rally up his support, get younger people, excited about Biden. But I think it's backfiring on him. I think, and like I was saying yesterday, and maybe I wasn't saying this yesterday, but I think, when we have all this, everything is about race. Everything, we got all these race relations. Everything, oh, we're going outside. I got to be worried about going outside because I'm a Black person. Oh, I'm a trans person, so I have to be worried about going outside. Or I don't have diversity, equity, and inclusion. Everything is about race. They're making everything about race. And so people are getting sick and tired of it because your race is the most least important thing about you. So this guy, like I said, he is influencer. Let me just share this with you. He's an influencer, and he says this Democrat influencer, somebody else posted this, the real Biff Bifford. This Democrat influencer says many high school students are turning conservative and going to websites to get red pilled. Listen to how he suggests you prevent this from happening. I could say, we have some kids that's very intelligent, but some of these kids, they lack kind of common sense. Anyway, listen to him.
It's a very good algorithms. I've seen some data recently to suggest that high school boys are trending conservative, identifying as conservative at a rate we haven't seen in a long time. And then if you think about it, this actually makes a lot of sense. If you're in high school right now, and let's say you're a straight white male, you're walking around and you're seeing a lot about social issues, feminism, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ+. All of a sudden, it feels like everybody is talked about except you. And a lot of people are telling you that you're the most privileged person, but you don't feel that way because no one's talking about you. And so you get upset, you get angry, and then you go on these sites and you get red-pilled because these sites are very good algorithms, very good at showing you what you want to see. And so you get red-pilled and you become this alpha male conservative. And so the way to stop this is education, obviously, because as a straight white male, we are the most privileged people in society. But we need to do a better job at actually talking to some of these kids. Like the first thing I'd ask another straight white male, when's the last time you had to walk into a room and you felt like you might not be welcome? When's the last time you walked around, walked out of your house and thought about your race? It'll really make you think, because the answer is never.
But literally, who walks, and I'm pretty sure we have some Black folks in the audience, who walks outside and say, oh my God, I'm Black today. I better be worried. Oh, let me go in this room. Now, you probably felt some type of way because back in the day, if you, like in my engineering field, I didn't have, literally, I was the only woman and the only Black woman. So it's like, okay, are they going to listen to me today? But this was like maybe 10, 15 years ago. Okay, so, but now today, like when I go on jobs to submit bids for construction things, I'm still literally the only one. It's a few sprinkles of women, but they're different ways. But it's not like, Oh, and since people know me, they're like, "Oh, Chawanne, how you be doing?" They don't be like, "Oh, Chawanne, you black, how you feeling today?" It's like, it's not a thing. Stop making it a thing. So this is, to me, this is why you have younger people probably saying, "Oh, you guys are lunatics." Not only white boys or white young men, just men in general. You guys are lunatics. So let me just go over here because they're not making it a thing about what I look like. On the other side, they made it a thing. Oh my God, I'm so special. I'm so traumatized. Look at me. I'm so special. Like, no, you're not. You're not special. There's nothing unique about you. You just woke up just like everybody else. You might have a 9 to 5 just like everybody else. Nothing is unique about you. You don't have a third eye. You don't have 3 boobs. You don't have 3 legs. So what's unique about you? And I think they making it a thing, and people are getting like really tired and sick about this thing that they're making. This whole outrage, DEI, fake, I guess, trauma. Everybody wants to be special. It's like you, but you're not. You just like any other person. You guys let me know in the chat. Let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction. I just feel like it's just enough is enough. And I think that's why you see the dynamics changing. People are just pissed off about race being the topic of every freaking thing. Everything doesn't have to deal with race. Anyway, moving forward to your boy Brandon Johnson. People hated me yesterday. You guys go, matter of fact, go to my live stream yesterday and you could see some long messages. One person says you need to stop talking about Chicago politics. You know nothing about it. Like, I'm literally from Chicago. You guys might not know, but I'm literally from Chicago. But I lived all over. So I believe I'm kind of qualified to tell you, to give you a perspective of, okay, I've been around, I lived a long time around just predominantly white people in Des Moines, Iowa, 0.9% black. So I had that perspective. And then I've lived in Chicago and probably 85% black in my neighborhood. The rest was Latino. If that, probably 100% black. But so I've been to these areas. I've lived in North Carolina down south, in Texas down south. So I lived in these areas. So I'm just giving my perspective, and I think I feel like it's a fair and balanced perspective. So just go to that live and see what they're saying. But I'm going to talk about Brandon Johnson again, because Brandon Johnson, he was just in the news again, and this is like a newspaper, and it's called Black Club of Chicago. Brandon Johnson, 1 year after election, he says, quote unquote, name one thing I haven't done. You guys type in the chat, name one thing Brandon Johnson hasn't done. Name one thing he haven't done. The first term mayor defended his handling of the migrant crisis. Now, I'm not going to beat Brandon Johnson over the head. It was an inherited crisis. But when you sign up for the job, you knew what was in store. Okay, you knew you had this migrant crisis. You knew when you came in, you knew you had illegal immigrants sleeping on the floor in the police department. So it's not like this was like sprung up on you, like, oh my God. It wasn't sprung up on you. So, and he's saying, enact policies of proof he's fulfilling his campaign promises in the interview with the Black Club. But he also faced criticism from his own supporters because his own supporters feel blindsided. They didn't know they would have to give up their community centers because you have illegal immigrants coming in. They didn't know. They didn't know they would, they were their neighborhoods and their community centers will suffer economically, and you will close them down or stop the funding because they didn't agree to make their center a shelter. Because you were literally mad at some of these people because they decided they didn't want illegal immigrants in their neighborhood. Okay. It says on October the 4th, Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson became the mayor, pledging in his election night victory speech to enact a sweeping progressive agenda and unify a segregated, polarized Chicago. No, you can't. This is what I'm saying. You're not able to do that when you're making everything about race. You're still are going to be polarized. Now, Chicago, since I've known Chicago, there's certain areas you don't go to. I'm not for sure how true that is now, today, but as far as crime, it's certain areas you don't go to. Now, back in the day, in the 80s, there's certain areas you didn't go to because the color of your skin. Like I said, I don't know how true that is now, but you're polarizing or actually inflaming the problem because your progressive policies, and all you're doing is pissing people off. Now you're polarizing Venezuelans, illegal Venezuelans, against blacks and even their legal immigrants. You have legal immigrants. That the video I showed you yesterday, she was a legal immigrant. She has her citizenship. I don't know where country she's from. I don't know if she was from Mexico or Venezuela, but she was totally against the Venezuelans coming in her neighborhood. She said they was disrespectful, pissing on her lawn, stealing her packages, breaking into cars. So you're causing the polarizing effect. Anyway, he talks about Martin Luther King, and they're saying that since October 2022, they have been more than 850 buses carrying tens of thousands of asylum seekers have been sent to the city, mostly from Texas, with little to no coordination with local official, and also a measles breakout concentrated in the city largest migrant shelter, and now account for more than half of all the measles cases reported in the United States so far, because everyone in America has been vaccinated. Everyone in America has been. If you came over here as a young child, or if you were born in America, that's part of one of your vaccines regimen, the MMR. I mean, only people that don't take the MMR, I'm not for sure. You know, you do have some people that do not take the MMR. But anywho, what I was getting at, the past 12 months, he have seen portions of Johnson's agenda progress while other parts have stalled or could potentially be clawed back in the coming months. Why? Why have your plans been clawed back or stalled? Because you have no plans. Your plans are crappy. You guys put it in chat. Do you think Brandon Johnson has good plans that he need, that he can enact? I don't think so. I don't think Brandon Johnson has any good plans. You guys let me know what if I'm going in the wrong direction. Now, I want to show you guys this video. I'm sharing this video with you. This is crazy. This is a crazy video. Now, this is from reporter William J. Kelly. Betrayed by Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, Chicagoans are telling me that never before have they felt so betrayed by an elected official as they have by Brandon Johnson. Johnson flew to DC on Thursday to plead with the president for $5 billion. Now, he didn't just do this. This is literally an old article. For migrant expenses. We learned that over the objection of Brighton Park residents, his administration secretly signed a land contract for $90,000 to build this $19 million winter migrant camp boondoggle for 3,000 migrants. Remember, that went awry because they didn't check to see if they could actually build on the land, because if they did, they would have literally had to get a ES or an environmental evaluation, and they would have known that this land is contaminated. That's part of it. And it says favored healthcare staffing, a state COVID-19 staffing company, to manage the care for migrants with invoices as large as $500,000 per week. Some staffs are on track to make $800,000 a year. Nice work. If you can get it, you can make this stuff up. And why would you want to?
Chicago's 12 shelters.
Okay,
Invoices
so this is it.
No, this is no.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's a private.
This is a hotel.
No, this is not a hotel.
It is a hotel. This is reporter William J. Kelly in Chicago. If you've been following me, you've seen my viral reports on the Inn of Chicago, Michigan Avenue, the Standard Club, and O'Hare Airport, which have been turned into multi-million-dollar migrant shelters by Mayor Brandon Johnson. What you may not know is that the city of Chicago has secretly renewed its $40 million contract with Kansas-based Favored Healthcare Staffing. Favored Healthcare Staffing was a COVID-19 staffing company with a lucrative state of Illinois contract. And now, magically, it's a migrant shelter manager. An old Facebook ad for Favored Staffing announces 6-week crisis contracts for RNs and CNAs. Their employment database still lists pandemic healthcare worker jobs, but they've since shifted to migrant healthcare caseworkers. In my reports, I've asked these well-paid migrant managers at the Inn of Chicago, the former Standard Club, and O'Hare Airport about how they are spending these millions of taxpayer dollars, and they refuse to answer. Even as a veteran reporter, I am not allowed inside. You are not allowed inside. Only migrants are allowed inside. Favored Healthcare Staffing was previously paid $56 million to manage Chicago's 12 shelters. Invoices show that hundreds of workers are billing Chicago for 84 hours a week at 50% overtime premiums. In fact, Favored Healthcare Staffing billed Chicago $580,000 for just 1 week. With Mayor Johnson's latest contract extension, that could mean migrant shelter workers are making up to $850,000 per year per worker. What are the Inn of Chicago workers doing for $850,000 a year? I've watched them prevent me from going inside. I've watched them cart in truckloads of Apple Jacks, oranges, and apples. Those must be some pretty expensive apples. You can't make this stuff up, and why would you want to? I'm reporter William J. Kelly in Chicago.
I'm still muting. I'm sorry. Mike, that's what I'm sorry. My bad. Brandon Johnson, he acts like he's handling the migrant crisis very well. You're not. You're not. You're a big failure. Okay, you might not like what I'm saying, but Brandon Johnson is a big failure. He handled the migrant crisis. It's a whole debacle. What are they doing for $800,000 a year? Can you imagine making $800,000 a year to move around boxes? And then you wonder why your citizens are mad at you. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. But that's Brandon Johnson. And he thinks he's doing a great job. You guys put in the chat. Do you think Brandon Johnson is doing an excellent job? I don't think so. I don't think so. So anyway, that's it for our business talks. Brandon Johnson is a complete failure. Like I said, he will be a one-term mayor. I don't think we'll be seeing him again. And he'll probably be blaming I guess Trump supporters because he will lose his election. Again, you know, when it comes around, he'll be losing. So anyway, you guys put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. I really appreciate every single last one of you. Tomorrow is our 8:30 live stream in the evening. So tune in tomorrow. I have some more disturbing things about your girl, Tiffany Henyard. Tiffany Henyard, she can't stay away from sex offenders. I don't know what is up with her, but she loves them. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Anyway, you guys, I'm sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.